The ancient legend that formed the basis of this incredible event has the following content. It was the 8th century AD. In the Church of San Legontius in the ancient Italian city of Lanciano, one of the Christian rites was being celebrated, the Sacrament of the Eucharist. But one of the priests who served the liturgy that day suddenly had doubts about whether the body and blood of the Lord, hidden under the guise of bread and wine, were real. The chronicles did not bring us the name of this hieromonk, but the doubt that arose in his soul became the cause of the Eucharistic miracle, revered to this day. The priest drove away his doubts, but they persistently returned again and again. Why should I believe that bread ceases to be bread, and wine becomes blood? Who will prove it? Especially since outwardly they do not change and have never changed. Perhaps these are just symbols, just a memory of the Last Supper. Such thoughts visited the monk. The priest continued to pronounce the words of the Eucharistic canon, but doubts continued to torment him. And then, with the words of prayer, he broke the Eucharistic bread, and immediately a cry of amazement filled the small church. Under the fingers of the hieromonk, the broken bread suddenly turned into something else. He did not immediately understand what exactly. And in the cup there was no longer wine, there was a thick scarlet liquid, similar to blood. The surprised priest looked at the object in his hands. It was a thin piece of meat, reminiscent of the muscle tissue of the human body. The monks surrounded the priest, amazed by the miracle, unable to contain their amazement. And he confessed before them his doubts, dispelled in such an incredible way. Having finished the liturgy, the priest silently fell to his knees and immersed himself in a long prayer. All we know is that since then, for 12 centuries, the city of Lanciano has kept the miraculous blood and flesh that materialized during the Eucharist in the Church of San Legontius, now called San Francesco. The news of the miracle quickly spread through the nearby cities and regions, and crowds of pilgrims flocked to Lanciano. Centuries passed, and the Lanciano miracle became the object of attention of scientists. Since 1574, various experiments and observations were conducted on the holy gifts, and since the early 1970s, they began to be carried out at an experimental level. But the data obtained by some scientists did not satisfy others. Professor of the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Siena Odoardo Linoldi, a leading specialist in the field of anatomy, pathological histology, chemistry and clinical microscopy, conducted research with his colleagues in November 1970 and March 1971, and came to incredible conclusions. The holy gifts, kept in Lanciano since the 8th century, are genuine human meat and blood. The meat is a fragment of the muscle tissue of the heart, contains in cross-section the myocardium, endocardium and vagus nerve. It is possible that the meat fragment also contains the left ventricle. This conclusion is made by the significant thickness of the myocardium located in the meat tissues. Both meat and blood belong to the same blood group, AB. The blood found on the famous artifact, the Turin shroud, also belongs to this group. The blood contains proteins and minerals in percentage ratios normal for human blood. Scientists have especially emphasized, the most surprising thing is that meat and blood from 12 centuries are preserved under the influence of physical, atmospheric and biological agents without artificial protection and the use of special preservatives. In addition, the blood, when brought to a liquid state, remains suitable for transfusion, possessing all the properties of fresh blood. Ruggero Bertelli, a professor of anatomy at the University of Siena, conducted research in parallel with Odoardo Linoldi and obtained the same results. In repeated experiments conducted in 1981 using more advanced equipment and taking into account new scientific advances in anatomy and pathology, these results were again confirmed. According to contemporaries of this miracle, the materialized blood later coagulated into 5 balls of different shapes, which then hardened. Interestingly, each of these balls, taken separately, weighs as much as all 5 together. This contradicts the elementary laws of physics, but it is a fact that scientists still cannot explain. What do you think about this, dear viewers? Leave your opinion in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you there.